Jessica and Souror have both been through the Women in Sales Leadership Forum, and so they are two of my favorite people. And so welcome, ladies.
Thank you
for having us.
So I always like to invite my guests to tell the audience a little bit about themselves rather than me reading your bios. Jessica, do you want to go first? Tell us about yourself, where you work. You could tell us your title, but more than that, tell us how you got there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jess Scott. I work at Caresoft Technology. I currently am a senior team lead. So my role primarily involves leading our technology advocate team. So what's awesome about that, we get to collaborate with multiple internal departments like marketing, sales, our market research team to drive business development, execute marketing campaigns, and manage events, both virtual and in person. I also have joined helping corporate training back in 2020. Myself and Natalie Mooney built our onboarding program, which is our internal new team member training program, along with other internal trainings I help lead. It's been fun. I started 7 years ago. I just had my Caresoft work anniversary last week, so 7 years. Started as a upsell and renewals rep, moved quickly to sales and business development, and then corporate training, and built our technology advocate team. And here we are today.
Wow, that's a great journey. I love hearing growth, in what people are doing, and people who take advantage of opportunities and really grow their careers from that. That's wonderful, Jess. Thank you. Souror, how about you?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Souror Humpton. I am an account executive with the Oracle Government Defense and Intel team. And I'm in sales specifically, but our team helps the enterprises with their modernization efforts for their back office business systems with implementing emerging technologies. I started about 9 years ago in sales as an Adobe reseller, Mythics Emergent Group. They're always changing their names, but that's where I started. From there, I became team lead. I went over to Adobe for a little short stint, and then I came over and joined the Oracle team about 5 years ago now. So yeah, it's always, I say it's one big family because everybody knows each other, right? I still work with the team that I was with at Emergent, and they are now an Oracle reseller. So it is really just a small industry and everybody knows each other. So it's fun, continuing to work with people for the year across the years.
Yes, yes. We joke, Tamara Greenspan and myself, and I know that Scott Greenspan was your boss at one point too, and they kind of said, yeah, you take Souror now, and we're going to give her some opportunities. So, but we joke that everyone started at Oracle or at least worked there at some point. So yeah, it comes up a lot with the people you meet in the sales industry in the DC area anyway.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what you all studied in school and if you really thought you were going to end up in sales. Souror, why don't we keep going with you and then we'll go over to Jess.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea I was going to be in sales. So when I studied at the University of Maryland, College Park. And at the time, I decided to major in criminology and criminal justice and double major with Persian studies. So I really thought I was going to be FBI, CIA, some sort of translator, like operative. I watched a ton of shows. I watched way too many shows in college, and I thought that's what I wanted to be. And one of the summers while I was in college, I got through the process of becoming an intern at the FBI, and I completely just miserably failed that process. They put me through a polygraph exam, and I sat in the room, and it just felt like I was in one of those movies, right? Just all the lights on me. They put me through the most basic questionnaire of just like, tell us about yourself, and I panicked. I was like, I am not meant for
I'm
this.
guilty. I did it.
I did it. Absolutely. I was like, I am not built for this. And so, I ended up connecting with someone and ended up, like I said, at Emergent, not knowing even what software sales was about. And I ended up absolutely falling in love with it. So did not have the plan at all, but it ended up working out because I don't know if I would be a very good FBI agent at this point.
I love it. That's a great story. Jessica, how about you?
So, fun fact. So my background actually was in marketing. So I did University of Phoenix because I did work in the restaurant industry. So a lot of what I did was event planning. I went and opened restaurants for the owner of my company. I kind of became his right hand and go-to girl for opening, training, anything he actually needed for events around launching, anything with the launch of the new restaurants to big events where we're trying to pull in people from all aspects of the business. So I don't think I realized that I was in sales, but pretty much everything we do is tied to sales. Um, I had to track our revenue year over year, see where we were going, how we could host more events that would help us grow. I transferred out of that restaurant industry to a wine shop manager, which then I quickly learned was all about sales. Okay, how are we going to get more foot traffic? How are we going to get more, the wine shop club people signing up? So everything we did was marketing and sales intertwined.
Absolutely.
How I got into Caresoft was actually a referral by my sister, and she said, "You have to come here. You would do so well." And I said, I don't know. This has been my whole background, my whole life." And she said, "You would do amazing." So I said, "I'm going to take your advice." Interviewed, met with my boss, Harrison, and never looked back and jumped in to the deep end and just continued to want to help the business grow, help our partnerships, and bring just the value that Caresoft brings to the community.
That's great. That's great. Both of them are great stories. I love that. So now we'll shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about some of the challenges that you face or have faced in your roles or your careers. And then let's talk a little bit about the advice that you would give other people coming up from those learning opportunities. Jess, do you want to keep going?
Sure, that's perfectly fine. So I would say some of the biggest challenges is just how technology continues to evolve. I mean, what you learn this year is going to be completely different from next year. So I think all of us being able to keep up with the scale of the rapid growth of the needs of technology, I think is always going to be a challenge. But I have to say, with the partners we do partner with and what Caresoft does, we're able to have a lot of events that educate on what the market trends are, to how the business is growing in a specific area, going to these live events. So we've evolved how, they may have been difficult for us in the past, but we're still evolving those challenges. And we're always going to run into those challenges. That's just being in this industry.
Yeah, yeah, good thoughts. Souror?
Yes. So I would say one of my biggest challenges is coming into the Oracle role, at least, was being one of the youngest in the group that I'm in. And although it's been a challenge, it's also been the biggest blessing for me because I've had a chance to learn from my team members around me and from my management team and from really anyone that I have met within the role. Everyone is so tenured and everyone is so seasoned, which is kind of intimidating coming into it, but for me, that's kind of what drives me and pushes me to learn and grow. So I would say some advice that I would give anyone is just jump right into it. If you're not uncomfortable,
Yeah.
you're not growing. And if you're comfortable, you're just going to continue to, you know, stay in the same role, and you're not going to push yourself outside of your boundaries. So yeah, although it's a challenge, it's also been the best decision I've ever made.
Good, good. Well, going on that, what you've learned through your own journeys and the challenges you've had, and you know, kind of thinking along the advice you would give younger people, let's talk a little bit about what advice would you give employers for attracting younger people? And how do you think companies could really do better at onboarding and then supporting? Souror, why don't we continue with you?
Yeah. So I would say the advice I would give companies is give people a chance, because I think what you see on paper, it doesn't necessarily always translate to what somebody can actually achieve if given the chance. So a lot of people will see, you know, the younger generation and say, okay, they don't have X amount of years of experience for this specific role. But I think the best way to learn is to actually dive right into it and immerse yourself. And that's really the only way you have a chance to get that experience. So I would say give them a chance. Worst case scenario, they fail, but best case scenario, you have somebody who's super driven and super hungry and super wanting to prove themselves. At least that's how I was, right? I'm like, okay, yes, I'm the youngest in the group, or one of the younger people within the group, but that drives me to want to prove myself and show that I can really exceed in this role. And yeah, I mean, attracting them, I would say give them a position in which they can grow into, which will essentially, like I said, will drive them to want to exceed. It's like what they say, the labeling theory. If you tell somebody that, you know, there's something, then they will work towards being that.
They'll rise to that occasion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. They'll rise to that occasion. Yeah. So if you say, you know, I'm giving you this role, it's um, you might need more experience, but I think you can do it. A lot of people will live up to that expectation.
Absolutely. That's great thinking. Jess, how about you?
I have to agree. I think taking a gamble on some people that have maybe different experience, such as myself. I had no background in this industry, but I can tell you that the work ethic carried over. And just diving in and really investing in yourself, but also, you know, they invest in you. It starts with the companies investing in your employees' development from day one. So this needs to be something that is a constant, a ongoing training program with different programs that will help them better in their role, or be able to showcase maybe what their strengths are. You know, maybe they're not strong in one area, but they're strong in another. Play those strengths to our advantage to help scale the business and help scale the community.
That's great advice, Jess. You guys need to start leading companies right away. So let's talk a little bit about your network, because that's something that I hear leaders really put forth to younger people. You have to build your network. And there's been a lot of talk about how that's kind of fallen by the wayside with remote working. Because it's true. I mean, we're all guilty of it. If you're in your house too long, you know, the last thing you want to do is go out and network. But you can network online, you can do other things. What do you all do? Souror, do you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I will say that that has been a challenge with the remote work, but also within our line of work where everybody is in, you know, in the field kind of doing their own thing, and there's not so much interaction with the groups. Yeah, we'll have, you know, our touch bases, our monthly, quarterly meetings, whatever that is, and we talk online. You know, we talk quite often, but that is definitely a challenge. I will say make sure that I'm communicating with people. I'm big on, text message and phone calls. I'm very quick to just pick up the phone and call people versus trying to communicate via email, because I just think sometimes emails get lost. And then also attending as many events, conferences. I know conferences aren't ideal, especially these days. I feel like they're so massive. You can go to a conference and get lost, and it's a sea of people. But if you are going to conferences, making sure you're reaching out to people who you think will be there, and making sure you set up either meetings or, hey, let's grab a coffee while we're there. And when you do have those chances to be in person, really making sure that you make the most of it.
Good advice. Good advice. Jess?
Well, who don't I talk to? No, I'm just kidding. So, personally, I always try to surround myself with people like internally and externally, as I see as role models, or maybe someone that could mentor me down the road. Something I actually took away from Women in Sales Leadership Forum was having sponsors and mentors, and, expanding your network. That has been a great resource for me. I also love to befriend or connect with people who are willing to just educate me, in different aspects of the business. Maybe I don't have enough experience in, so I can learn how we can better support them. We go to a lot of networking events, and I always tell everyone, the best way to put yourself out there and to get to know people is to attend the shows if you get an opportunity. If your employer is investing in you, which it is an investment for them to pay for you to go to these events, prepare yourself, similar to what was said before. Lean on the people that have gone to these shows. Ask, what you should look into. We have an internal show that internal training that showcases how to prepare before you go to like a trade show or a big event like that. So it helps ease the anxiety and the nerves of the unknowns. There's still going to be unknowns, but jumping in, it's really going to help. LinkedIn has been another area that has really expanded my network. I think that it is underutilized. If you aren't using LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn, connect with people that align with, your morals, your work ethic, and your visions of the future for yourself and people around you.
Absolutely. That's really good advice. And yes, we have, now we have the whole LinkedIn piece built into the forum and to the emerging leaders, different levels of using it, but it's absolutely essential now. I mean, it was essential before, but even more so now. So that's great advice, Jess. So let's talk about what motivates you, and what it is you're gonna what it's gonna take to keep you motivated as you move forward in your career. What kinds of things do you look for, and what do you do to keep yourself really energized and engaged? Because one of the things that Fred and I hear from the sales leaders we talk to is that overall engagement is way down. The terminology we hear is that salespeople have kind of lost the fire in their belly. And it's true of everybody, I think. I don't know if it's post-pandemic shock or something, but we're all a little different than we were before. So Souror, how do you keep yourself energized and motivated?
Yeah. So I will say one of the key things that drives me is recognition, even if it's something super small, like hearing a good job. Like it can be the smallest recognition. It doesn't have to be some big award or some big event, but just that recognition that, hey, you're doing a good job. That drives me. So really making sure that I'm connecting with my teammates and my management. Like I said, remote work really does make that piece of it challenging because you're not in the office and you're not constantly getting that feedback. And so making sure that you're driving yourself and getting that feedback and communicating with your team. And I will say one of the things is having within my role specifically and working and supporting the Department of Defense, when we work specific opportunities or we're working to get a project up and running, it can take years and years and years. And so having smaller and short-term goals to achieve and work towards, whether that's weekly or bi-weekly or monthly goals that you can really look back and say, okay, here's what I achieved, versus working towards that one single project that can maybe take 2 to 3 years to kick off. That has really helped me as well, because when a goal is so far out, it can seem unachievable, or it can be like, okay, what am I going to do today that will really drive that specific project that could take years. So really setting those short-term goals and making sure that you have something to work towards on a weekly basis is really what helps me.
That's great advice. Great advice. Jess?
What motivates me, and I think it's been my motivation my entire life, is helping people. Taking feedback, doing something with it, letting someone feel heard, including them, but also similar, just recognition even from people that have provided feedbacks or challenges, and we've taken that challenge and turned it into something easier for them, really goes a long way. I think that also a passion of mine is helping people in our industry and even my friends understand their why. That is a big thing for me, that, why I joined Caresoft to what I do as a mother. They go in parallel of each other, and understanding your why and helping other people understand their why. It kind of puts that fire back into the belly, like you said, Gina. And then you see that they are getting more revenue or generating more leads or having more, networking opportunities or connections with partners. I think that with COVID, people really forgot the why, and they needed to just be reminded of why they're here, how they can make an impact, and the difference they make every single day.
That's great advice too, both of you. And it made me, both of things that you both said made me think of, some of what we talked about in the forum, and that's keeping your brag book or your just daily journal of the things that you achieved. Because to your point, Souror, if you don't get that feedback of, that was a great job, you can give it to yourself. Because when you really take note of the good things that you've done or the small goals that you've achieved, or, an email you got from a client or customer who said, I really appreciated when you did this. All of those things you can kind of build yourself back up if you're feeling a little low. And to your point, Jess, it can give you your why back. Because sometimes it's hard to remember your why. It's like, why am I here? So those little things that you're doing, I think it's great advice.
And
So,
we actually have something that we do internally that we tell people: create a kudos folder. So it could be kudos internally or from a customer or a partner. So at the end of the, day, or say you've had a rough week, you can go to that kudos folder and really, hype yourself back up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you call it kudos, call it brag, call it,
yeah.
ain't I grand? But it's to that point, sometimes we just need that little bit of a pat on the back.
Yes.
And reading those things can give it to you. So I'm going to make you project a little bit. Let's talk about where you see yourself in 5 years. Who would like to go first on that one?
I can go. So in the next 5 years, I hope to continue to do kind of what I'm doing today. As Jessica mentioned earlier, the technology that we're supporting today is rapidly changing, and who knows what's going to come out tomorrow. So I think it's super exciting to be a part of this industry where you can continue to grow with the technology and continue to support the latest emerging technology that's out there. But for me, I think really where I want to be is, like I said, when I look around the group that I am a part of, the GDI group, everyone is so tenured, and everyone, when you go around the room and everyone is introducing themselves, a lot of people have been here 20, 25, 30 years. And that's where I hope to be. I mean, I know I'm looking past the 5 years, but I really like the idea of sticking within the group and supporting and really having that experience um, within the Oracle team. I know who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but a lot of people like to, maybe move to different companies. And to me, hearing people be within one role for that many years really, really drives me. So I think, continuing to support the Department of Defense and being a part of the Oracle team.
That's great. That's great. And there's a lot of change, as you say, happening anyway. So it's not like it's the same
Right.
job day in, day out.
And I think that's probably what has kept the team members along, within the team for so long, is because when they started, they were implementing and supporting the on-premise technology. So when you look at Oracle E-Business Suite or Oracle PeopleSoft, and then within the technology evolution, they have continued to support the same customer base, but just with new technology. And so it's different. It's not like they've been doing the same thing for 25 years, and that's what keeps it super exciting.
I bet. Jess, what about you?
In 5 years, I definitely could see myself kind of continuing to evolve the position I'm in, contribute in meaningful ways to just, I guess, every aspect of what strengthens our community. One that we are definitely very proud of. As we grow, I will remain focused on just supporting, the ongoing evolution of business development, marketing, customer success, and beyond that. I feel like, similar as said before in some of the questions we've answered, we're going to continue to learn as the business evolves. So just building that confidence year over year. Am I confident in everything that the company can do? No. Am I leaning on leadership and role models, mentors, sponsors to help educate me? Yes, I am. So 5 years, I hope maybe one day someone looks at me as a mentor or a sponsor, so I can kind of be that catalyst that inspires others to push past their limits, to dream bigger, and to just work, for their goals, but not just their goals, just goals that they want to do that could help them, but not just them, but people around them. I just see like a legacy built not just on business success, but the lasting impact we can make in the lives of everyone we work with.
That's awesome, Jess. That's awesome. And I'm sure you'll do it, knowing you. All right, now we're at that fun part of the conversation where we wrap up, and then we want to hear from you one final piece, an action piece of advice that listeners can put into place today to help their career, help their selling. What would you advise? Jess, you want to keep going?
Sure. Again, invest in yourself. Be proactive with getting better at your job by finding a mentor, by attending those trainings. They will help with your professional development. Go to the live events, push yourself outside of the comfort zone, and just build those connections. That's how we thrive in this business, is based off of the connections. So just always invest in yourself and remind yourself of that why and build upon it.
That's great advice. Yeah, come to the IAS programs, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Jess. Souror?
Yes, I would say my advice would be, worst they can say is no, and don't be afraid of rejection. So my biggest thing is, I pick up, like I said earlier, I pick up the phone and I just make the phone call, whether it's your management, whether it's a customer, whether it's something that you need from somebody. to take that next step. Worst case scenario, it's a no, and you move on. But best case scenario, you get what you had hoped for. And so I think, planning is absolutely key within the roles that we support, but over planning can kind of stump you. And so like, don't overthink the next step. And I'm known for, being in the middle of a conversation and somebody's like, I think we should, and I'm already on the phone, walking away from the conversation and making that phone call versus sitting at a computer and planning what I'm going to say or, thinking about the next step. So instead of thinking about it, just do it. That's I don't know if that's the best advice. Like, I'm not saying don't plan, but just don't over plan, and don't be afraid of rejection.
That's great advice too. Yeah, just do it. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Nike. We're gonna get Nike.
Sponsorship.
Yes.
Just do it. Exactly.
Great conversation. I really appreciate your time. It's been a joy knowing you through the forum, and I love that we've stayed in touch, and congratulations both of you on your awards. I can't wait for the award event. It'll be pretty spectacular. So thank you both, and thank you everyone for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.